think oil prices will hit $100 a barrel before the end of the year. Is that right?
That is correct, Maria. I think that oil, not only from an inflationary standpoint, but also from a demand standpoint, is certainly in a place where it is going to rise consistently and considerably now into the end of the year.
And that was my next guest, predicting last year that oil would see $100 a barrel. He told me that in July of 21. Joining me right now, once again, is Prochain Capital President David Tawil. And David, it's great to see you again. Hey, good call. You were right. It's at 92 right now. This is the highest levels we're seeing since 2014. Do you expect prices to keep on going?
Higher, Maria. We're going higher. Oil majors have reported earnings this week, and the theme throughout was, yes, they did incredibly well. Cash flow is really high, but they're not putting the money into the ground. They're giving it back to shareholders, their dividends and buybacks. So we're not going to see increased production from the oil majors, and increasingly the Saudis, OPEC Plus, Russia are going to continue to go ahead and tighten the noose around the United States and Western Europe.
Well, I mean, I think you make such a great point that they're not putting the money back in the ground. Well, you've got these activist investors telling them to change their business models altogether. David, I mean, here we've got ExxonMobil, the largest oil company, saying we're not going to go do the major production that we were going to do because we want to do more climate-related projects. What's going on? Would you buy oil stocks here, or is this industry changing completely?
I actually would buy the commodity. I'm actually long the commodity itself. I think futures is the way to play it. Certainly the oil majors will continue to go ahead and have considerable profits. And I think, as the price of oil rises, they will benefit from it. But like you said, they're increasingly being pressured to go ahead and focus on renewables, not only by their investors, but also by government and policymakers and legislators. And so therefore, I think that, it may be a little bit uncertain what profitability looks like going forward for a lot of these oil majors. However, if you're bullish on oil like I am, I'd be long just the commodity itself.
David, I want to get your take on what's going on with growth right now. Obviously, we've seen this real nervousness ahead of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates multiple times. You're seeing that manifest in things like technology stocks, growth names, but also in Bitcoin. We got a little bit of a rebound this morning, but Bitcoin dropped to $36,000 yesterday. The volatility in crypto, you think, could be quicker and more aggressive than Facebook. Tell me about this market and what you want to do as an investor today, given this move away from growth.
Right. So I don't agree. I mean, there may be a short rotation in the market away from growth based on what the Fed is doing. And frankly, Maria, these are circumstances that, I've seen in my lifetime, but certainly a lot of people have not seen in their lifetimes with rates going higher. And so therefore, it's a shock to the system, and it's going to take some time for the market to understand what the Fed is actually doing, and for us to get comfortable with how many rate hikes. Your last guests were talking about, incredibly different numbers in terms of rate hikes during the year, and we'll have to go ahead and see. And so therefore, the market is really just based on macro, activities right now. Any micro activities, earnings are going to get, swung heavily, and we've seen that over the last couple of days. So let me get to, I think that growth is still a story. I don't think value is the only story right now. I think it's important to focus on the growth. With respect to Facebook, it's a slow growth story. It's a show me story now on the metaverse. I think it's an incredible buy at this price, but it's going to be a long-term hold. We have to see how they go ahead and develop over the next couple of quarters. Facebook is not a story where there's news coming out every day. Contrast, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, millions of people around the world using it, developing it, changing the world with it, all across continents every single day. News coming out every single day. The news cycle never stops.
Yeah.
And so I think that the return to high prices in Bitcoin is certainly going to be a lot quicker than Facebook. But I think both are good long-term investments at these prices.
Well, I love to hear you say you think Meta right now is an incredible opportunity at this price. What about the broader market, David? Stephanie Pomboy says, look, we're going to see a 20% at least sell-off in stocks as the market gets comfortable with the Fed's moves. What do you think? Are we going to have a serious sell-off? Is this nervousness going to continue in stocks this year? What do you think?
No way. I think maybe institutional investors, it seems to be that during the selling that happened in January, institutions were really the ones that the smart money were the ones that lost. Retail actually did quite well during that period of time and was buying during that period of time. I think we're still in a buy the dip environment. I agree with some of the comments of your last guest regarding the fact that the Fed, even though it's not tied to the stock market and frankly shouldn't be, it is. Okay, if we see swoons of the likes of 20% in the equity markets, I can assure you we will get statements out of the Fed to calm people down and for everybody to understand the Fed is not interested in derailing the growth that's going on, not only in the economy, but the stock market itself.
Yeah, so it sounds like you think they'll get out of the way once the market reacts to what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And David,
they're not interested. They're not interested in disrupting.
Okay, so then you don't think we're going to see multiple rate hikes then?
Listen, if the market can digest it without swooning, we will.
Yeah.
But if the market swoons and people panic, I don't think we'll see them.
All right, David, great analysis as always. Good to see you this morning, sir. Thank you.